Welcome to Shift Hit the Fan.
We're dead. All right, should we do it? Do it, do it.
Do it. Let's wing it. Let's wing it. Let's wing it. Wing it.
Ready?
As good as it's gonna get.
Ready, set, go. Here we go. Patal. Welcome, Shifty.
Welcome to Shift Hit the Fan. Shift has hit this fan. We don't know what we're gonna talk about.
Shift building so it can hit the fan.
Yeah. We are gonna talk some shift.
Yep.
With each other today.
Talking about the leap of faith, like we are today.
Taking a leap of faith on what we're gonna talk about.
It's basically what we always do. We plan it about 5 minutes before, and then we jump in and see what comes up.
That'll be good. Yeah, let's do that. Talk a little bit about what's been going on, and then the topic comes up in that conversation.
You don't create the shift without the leap.
That's right. Yeah, taking a leap of faith or leaping into faith, I think has been
I like that.
Leaping into faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way that Soma put it, I think. It was it's just been a topic for the past couple of weeks, or maybe just the last week, in conversations. It's just like that's just what there is to do, and it's what we did in starting this, right? Elias said, hey, I've thought of having or doing a podcast with you, and I was like, let's do it. Let's just start doing it, and we'll figure it out along the way. And I created the page and or the YouTube channel and named it without asking Elias, and then I asked him later. I was like, what do you think of the name? I'm open to something else. And it kind of grew on him, and then
Here we are
figuring it out.
Yeah. Take a leap and then shift as you go along the way.
That's right.
Kind of reminds me of
leave a trail of shift behind.
What? Yeah, that's how I do my ice bath. A lot of times, there's a pond not too far from my house, and I'll just jump off the dock in 40-degree weather, and just my saying is don't think, just do.
Yeah.
Don't think about it, because as soon as you think about it, it's going to create all these hormones inside your body to say, don't do it. Then you're like, hey, I can't get you in the water. But you just jump. You don't think about it. Just jump in the water. Suddenly your body just has to figure it out. And you're like, all right, breathe. And your body figures it out. And you swim across the pond, or I'll swim across the pond, and then, I survive. And I get out and I'm like, oh, I'm alive.
Yeah. That part of you that says, but did you die? Right?
Pretty much. Nothing like waking up to a bout of something that's going to kill you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the way I've been taking on. That's one of the only shorts that I've had the energy to record so far, is talking about this process too, of jumping into the into the podcast. Is that I never thought I'd be somebody. I'm so quiet most of the time, like around other people, even in our community. Once you get me talking, I can talk a lot about certain things. Or about what's going on, and explaining processes and stuff like that. But usually I'm quiet, I'm listening to people. I just never thought I'd be somebody who would be doing this. It never even occurred to me that I could be somebody who was a content creator, a podcaster or whatever. But then I start doing it, and all of a sudden all I think of is content, right? And that's something that's so different from how it was before. But it's like it's the stepping into something without knowing how it's going to turn out, without having expectations and all that, just jumping into it and letting it's like a surrender to this is what you're doing now. And stuff just you shift into that. Uh, and that's what's been happening with my body, even though that's a lot more painful and emotional. I just decided that day that that's what I was going to focus on, just strictly my getting my body back to health. And it's just been bringing up all this stuff, and I just trust that all of it's happening, all of it's coming up because it needs to be held, because it's what needs to work through me and move through me so that I can get restore my body. That's been my experience of leaping into faith, just knowing it's all going to be taken out. That's the way I live my life anyways. I've always said I love impossible things, and I'm going to go for the most impossible thing. So anytime somebody says this is a permanent condition or whatever, I'm like, them's fighting words. You just gave me motivation to take this specific thing on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lay down now. Take it away.
Yeah, I think about manifestation and how a lot of times we're thinking of these desires that we have and trying to manifest something in our life, manifest these desires to come into our life. And a lot of it is just taking that leap of faith. You listen to your spirit guides, and your spirit guides tell you something. And if you have fear around what your spirit guides have told you, um, you're going to hesitate. You're not going to listen to them. You're not going to listen to those voices that are trying to guide you towards the thing that you want to experience in life. And I think a lot of that has to do with our past, like looking back and creating the present from the past experience, when really the present holds so much more than what we've experienced in the past. You can experience infinitely new things in this one present moment. And I think we mentioned this last week, but infinity is inside of us. And if we actually, maybe it was our meditation on Monday, our conversation, but um, yeah, infinity is inside of us. We have this infinite potential to have a new perspective, to see something differently, to be in the constant of change. And I think that is the beautiful thing about taking that leap, is that if you take that leap and follow that saying that I have, don't think, just do, which can seem dangerous and dumb, but at the same time, your body will figure it out. Your body and mind will figure it out. And you might have a huge amount of stress come up in that leap of faith. But at the same time, there are ways to just calm and relax, eliminate the stories that are creating the emotions inside of you, and know that you're going to be okay, that your body will take care of you no matter what. And I think that's the beautiful thing about our body. We look at all these people that live for such a long time with all of these vices, all these different things that they use to dull the pain of life. And their body still takes care of them. It just keeps going and going. And maybe they've got more pain and they're just building that pain up
Mm-hmm.
until their body's screaming at them. But
Mm-hmm.
the body still does. It still honors us and loves us so much that it will carry us through all the experiences we want to have in life. And
Mm-hmm.
we just have to trust our body that it'll take care of us, and then just go experience. Go try the thing you want to try, and do the thing you want to do.
Mm-hmm. I've never experienced my body. I've always known I'm like freakishly strong for my size. I was always pretty petite. I didn't look like I'd be as strong as I am. I've always known I'm this strong, but man, the strength that I've felt, that I've experienced in my weakness has just like taken it to a whole new level. Um, and having been so close to death a couple of times, that's what came up as I'm listening to you. Like the two times that I just didn't think I had the energy or the strength to keep fighting for my life. And I would surrender to that and communicate to whoever I needed to communicate to. Because I had something going on, like the one time that I didn't think I was going to wake up the next day. I had I had my Bali call, so I had to communicate with the Bali babes to let them know that I wasn't going to make the call because it was the first day that like in months that I was finally going to get some rest. There was just so much going on for the holidays and all that. So uh so I just communicated. I'm like, hey, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Well, I'm not gonna make it to the call. So sorry, all this, and I'm just saying it with all the voice that I can muster up. Just really weak, really crackly, and all this. And I'm like, I swear, I'm not crying right now. It sounds like it, but I'm just so I don't have the strength to speak. And that night I surrendered. I knew that they were going to get the message, and one of them responded saying that she was going to send energy, and she was sending her love and all this, and I took that and I held on to it and had that be the thing that carried me through the night, that had me get start getting slowly stronger, because I finally remembered that I have a community that loves me, that's going to send energy, that's magical, that's that knows, they're shamanic people. They're uh, even if it's faith in somebody else or whatever, it's something that I attracted to my life. I put this in place, even if it was unconsciously. It was out of a desire to heal my body. This is when I was having struggling breathing and getting through a full sentence without coughing, and feeling like I was dying and not being able to sleep through the night because I'm choking, right? But both times that I felt like I was gonna die, I reached out to this community, and the next time it was with the UK babes, and they're the ones that was sending the energy, and uh so it was like when I don't think that I can keep doing it on my own, I'm not alone. I have people. The universe is taking care of you, is going to give you, it's going to put in mind the thing that you need to help, so that you can rest, so that you can take care of, or just surrender, or just give up, or whatever it is. But man, that faith that I have in my community, and my and what I've built for my life, that's also helping me remember just how much I must love myself to put all these people in my life, and to always be taken care of somehow. Right.
Yeah, it's amazing how much the universe, life, God, whatever, just our people around us, they take care of us.
Mhm.
And kind of going back to our body, like our body just takes care of us, and life just takes care of us. And if we continue to honor that, then it continues to take care of us in all the different ways. Um, I keep thinking about this thought of faith and what is faith, and I I had a buddy of mine was studying the Bible and other scriptures, and he was wondering, like, what is faith? What does that mean? And he, thinking about God and Christ and all these different things of putting faith in. And he came to this concept that faith is, we never lack faith. We always have faith. But faith is where we're putting our attention. It's where we're putting our trust. It's where we're putting our energy into. You know, you eat food, you have faith that that food is going to sustain you in what you're doing. And so it does. Same thing with water, same thing with the air that you breathe, all these different things. And it was just this beautiful aspect of what we put our trust in is what will take care of us. And I think taking that leap into faith is redirecting our attention, redirecting our trust in life and in our body and in all these different things that we have going on around us. When we are really able to shift that attention, shift that focus, shift perspectives, then we shift our faith, and then we shift that action that's inside of us. And taking that leap into faith will give us a new faith, give us a new perspective, a new understanding of what life is. And if we can remain in that constant change, then we're flowing like the water, like we're flowing like the life that is around us. You know, even the trees and the solids and the rocks that we have around us, they're always shifting. There's a vibration, a frequency that's coming out of them. And there's this ever flow of atoms, of molecules, constantly, of energy, really. This constant flow of energy all around us. And if we try to stiffen, we'll crack and crumble. But if we relax and find that ability to just trust in life, it takes care of us. We just get to be here as whatever observer consciousness we are and experience what it's like to participate as another intelligence in this life.
It's funny. I thought when you mentioned faith, I was like, oh, yeah, that's what we're talking about. We should probably talk about what faith is. That's a good idea, Elias. At least one of us is thinking.
What are your thoughts on faith?
For me, faith is it's a knowing. It's the difference between, well, the difference between belief and faith is the knowing part of it. There's a certainty, there's like you don't even have to think about it. You just know it's gonna happen. And so when I think of, there's a couple of ways that I've heard this. It's the faith the size of a mustard seed or faith of a mustard seed. And I've heard it said both ways, but either way, when you have the faith of a mustard seed, you know that what you're planting is what is going to grow. You know that you are a mustard seed. It's in your DNA. It's in your wiring. You're only going to become that thing. And you know the mustard seed is so tiny, but it grows into the biggest, like, you know, tree-sized ginormous thing, right? So I think that it also speaks to the enormity of the size of the faith that you need to have, right? It just needs to be this little for you to grow into this massive thing and the full expression of whatever it is that you plant. It is knowing that whatever it is that you plant is what you're going to reap. It makes me think of the parable of the weeds that I heard Elian talking about on one of her TikToks recently, because I've been binge watching her content again lately, just because I want to help with the understanding the symbology and stuff like that. I'm trying to help my brain, and I love her perspective.
Gotta catch up with all of her videos because
What's that?
it's been a minute since I've seen any of her videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I've been dreaming about her because I watch it so much. Like she's been pretty much in every one of my dreams, seems like. Uh Even I woke up this morning with a dream of her talking about whatever it was that I was hearing on her TikToks lately, talking about the Bible and Jesus and all this stuff. And she had said something about God, talking like if she had a classroom full of people, but I'm the only one in her class, right? And it was funny. Anyway, so she's talking about this. She tells the story about the parable of the weeds, and the so the farmer, I guess, had planted good seeds, and then they find out the next day that the enemy had come in the night to plant bad seeds, and the people were like, "What should we do?" and all this, and the dude was like, "Well, just let them both grow together, and then the farmers will deal with that at the end when it's time." And the way that I see that is like every time we plant something new, an idea, whatever, something that we say, I am this now. You start creating your goals into, or you put it into speaking, you put it into the world, like this is who I am now. What comes up automatically is your doubts, your fears, your whatever it is, your shadow stuff that comes in, the enemy that comes in to plant the bad seed. Because what you're doing is planting the fullness of this thing. You're and I think most people don't realize that that's what's happening every time they say I'm this. What comes up is not that. What comes up is the exact opposite of this, and it's because of this phenomenon that happens, because you're once it's also what the Tao is saying about, I think, the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. The Tao that can be named is the mother of creation. So it's like as soon as we name something, we create it. And right, so bringing it into existence brings both sides of it, brings the thing that we think is the thing and the opposite of that thing. But if you put them together, it's the whole thing. So letting them both grow together, knowing that you're going to end up with your wheat, you're going to end up with your corn or whatever it is that you planted, and the weeds are going to grow up with it. But knowing that if you keep nurturing the thing, you're going to have it regardless. And that's to me what faith is trusting in that process.
Yeah. Yep. I think again, for me, it's always just the definition of like, where are you putting your energy, your attention? And I think a lot of times our body gets a lot of that too. I think our body's a beautiful example of giving attention and energy to something, but also not needing to control it. We don't have to control what our cells are doing or what our stomach is doing. We just supply it with the thing that it's asking for. We think we think pizza, our stomach says pizza and we give it pizza, whatever it might be. But if we trust our body to take care of us, and it does, and we give it that energy and attention that it needs. And sometimes our body yells at us and says, "Hey, I'm hurting here. I need more attention than what you've been giving me. I need this. I need something different than what's here. Something's off." And if we don't take that time to slow down and listen to what our body's saying, then it just gets worse and worse and worse until it's screaming at us. And then we try to cover it up. And then, all this other allopathic medicine that we have these days. Um, but it is interesting that we don't have to put that much effort into these things to take those leaps of faith. It doesn't take effort necessarily. It just simply takes the action and I think a willingness to just relax and flow and trust in what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that in the end it'll be separated out. You know, as we clear our mind and go into that space of meditation, of mindfulness, and thinking about what is it that we've collected while we've been acting in this leap of faith, and what is it that what's the good stuff that we want to keep, and what's the bad stuff that we need to handle or hold or, you know, heal in a lot of ways. Because I think in almost all of our journeyings, we're going to have things that hurt us and things that feel wonderful, and we're going to feel that contrast that's in life, that polarity that exists.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of to your point of that, the wheat and the tares, we're going to have to sift through that at the end, or at least during the process.
Well, you're gonna know what's what. You're gonna know
Right.
that you've planted both, and the wheat's already there. There's not going to be a confusion about which one you're going to pull out.
Yeah. And so you're just going to have to sift through it and take that time to hold both things that you've created in that space.
Yeah. I was just thinking about something. Oh yeah, the action that came up in what you were talking about. How people get confused about how it's faith. It's like you don't have to do anything you could because you're not thinking about it, right? The thing is going to come in what you're already doing. Whatever it is that you want, whatever next action there is to take, it's going to be in what you're already doing, what you're already called to do. When you're sitting there trying to figure out what it is, that's your lack of faith. You're always going to produce mediocre results compared to what the universe can compel you to and pull you into when you're just going by heart, being heart led, right? that is that is the faith, is trusting that whatever it is that you're thinking of, that means you don't know already that you have the thing. You don't have the faith in the process, and you're worried about what it's going to take, and you know yeah, that's just all signs that you're not standing in faith, unshakable faith of knowing that you have the thing that you said you want. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. The end.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can be hard to like not. I think that's the hard part, is that when you have a desire, you have a need, you have something that you want, you tend to want to give it a lot of thought and a lot of process to it, but it doesn't take that much process. Everything that you need is right there, right in front of you. Abundance and infinity and all of these things are exactly where you are. You don't lack abundance, but
Mm-hmm.
you can have a lack of abundance mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is where the torture kind of comes in, is when you start to feel like you don't have this, you don't have that, this isn't going to work, and those doubts start coming in. You start to create that dissonance, that disparity in your own life, and
Mm-hmm.
start to hurt more.
Yeah. Yeah. It does hurt. That's another sign. That's another sign that you're not in faith, that you're in your doubt, that you're in the weeds, that you're focused on the weeds and forgot that you had planted the good seed right next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's already done.
All the seeds, which the harvest and which not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good seed.
It is all the seed. It exists. If it exists, then it's good. That's my opinion.
Exactly. I don't think it's a mistake that weeds come up.
And the weeds are just doing their job. They're just doing exactly what they were designed to do.
Hmm.
Reason to hate the weeds, they grow up with all the other things and teach us and participate with us and grow with us. And a lot of them have their own nutrients that they provide, or they give nutrients to the soil. You know, think about dandelions, the things that we hate in our yards so much,
Hmm.
and yet they take out so much of the pollutants that are in our soil and revitalize our soil in so many ways. And it's kind of fun to watch because if you have dandelions out in your yard, when they've done their job, the dandelions start to go away. But when there's more to take out of the soil, and more to balance the soil with, then they keep going. They keep spreading, and that's just what weeds do. They balance the soil. They go where they need to go, and such is life. And I
Yeah.
think it's our own perspective. Do we see something as bad, or do we see something as good, or do we just see something?
Hmm.
Can we just see it for what it is instead of defining it as bad or good? And I think a lot of our bad and good is just our own relative likes and dislikes and comforts and discomforts. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's just saying, oh, that discomfort I'm having, maybe it's not such a bad thing after all. Maybe it's just something that I just currently don't enjoy,
Hmm.
you know?
I'm looking at the scene behind you, all the life back there, and thinking about this one, I think it was a Instagram video maybe about this one, a forager person who talks about what to do, what mushrooms to pick or whatever it is, um, things about life, and they were saying you shouldn't rake your leaves. So I'm looking at, the stuff behind you. I'm like, there's nobody out there raking those leaves, and look at how beautiful it is. It just takes care of itself.
Yeah.
Nobody's out there manicuring the lawn or doing anything like that. It's all the little critters that come in and come and work the field.
Yep.
You got a little critter there, right?
Got a little ladybug
Oh,
crawling on me,
um,
balancing out the bug supply.
yeah. But yeah, the stuff that we're taught, like what I mean, at what point did we decide that it was a good idea to rake the leaves and to get so involved in the process of nature, right? We're trying to control every aspect of nature, even ourselves. We are nature, right?
And we're terrible at it.
Yeah, we are. Look at how sick and mentally, ill we are in the world. How messed up we are because we're messing so much with the process.
Yeah. And if you think, and it's interesting to look at it because I think about the Native Americans, and there's this thought that the Native Americans shaped all of the US and the forest and all of these different things, and created the Amazon rainforest.
Hmm.
And and they if they were doing that, I think they were doing that by listening to the environment, cultivating and helping to um, create they were coexisting with the environment.
Hmm.
You know, they weren't just going around destroying things or taking the things that they didn't need, or this overabundance or this overtaking or wastefulness or anything like that. They were sharing with the environment and helping shape it to a better way of being. And then we come in with our colonialization and we're like, we need everything. We're going to take all this stuff. We got to make life easier and overtake and overwaste and all this other stuff. And I think it's created a beautiful society for what we have, but at the same time, it's created a lot of hurt. And there's a lot of healing that needs to happen in this earth to go back to that way of cohabitating and coexisting with all life around us.
Yeah. They had an immense respect for life, no matter what it looked like, no matter how. Like we're the ones that call it destructive now because we're faced with all the destruction that we've had. So we recognize it. We recognize what we think, or we resonate with that, whatever it is that we think is destructive, even though it's part of life. It's part of the whole little balance in the ecosystem and how life just takes care of itself. But yeah, they did, like you said, they listened to nature, they listened to the little critters, and everything that was communicating on how to have that balanced and respectful relationship with them. You know, I heard somebody mentioning how the rattlesnake is like the most respectful snake that there is
Mm.
because it warns you from a distance. It starts rattling from a distance, not to go there. It's telling you how to respect it. Um, and so like they're like it's like the most polite snake that there is. It's communicating with you. Um, but it's like that. That's a more obvious one, but every single thing we can communicate with all of it. We can we can communicate mentally with images with every little critter. You're having a bug problem, communicate mentally with it. Tell them mentally, show them mentally where you want them to be instead of in your home, right? We never have to destroy anything the way that we've been taught to destroy. Esther Hicks says it seems like on everything on your commercials is designed to pull the wings off of flies, right? And we're it we're like so destructive. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we've lost that harmony that we need to have with life. And I feel like there's so many people now, thankfully, an increasing amount of people that want to return to that. They want to go off grid. They want to, just have their own little commune and all this to restore that balance because we know it. We can feel the longer we stay in this, the more separated we are from ourselves, and ourselves includes the earth and everything, the universe.
Yeah. We are all connected.
Yeah,
We just have to we just have to listen and co-create together.
yeah, yeah. Co-create with the world, with life, not just people. Because when it's
Yeah.
just the people, it looks the way it looks. It's a
Well,
mess.
I don't even think it's just the people, but because I don't even know that we create very well with each other, and I think that's where we are.
I'm saying when it's just the people and not everything else, it looks messy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
We I think we have a bad view on not working with each other, not co-creating, and it's more of a fear-based mindset than it is a loving-based mindset.
yeah,
You don't go into other lands with love and then destroy it. You know, that you come in with fear and fear inside of yourself, the hurt people type thing. If there's already hurt and conflict and fear inside of you, then you'll transfer that to other people.
mm-hmm,
And if you have love inside your heart and acceptance and space, then you'll transfer that to others as well. But it's a very interesting dynamic because the way that I see the world and the very existence of anything, of molecules, atoms, quarks, quantum physics, it's all based off of desire. If there was no desire to act, to have that vibration, to act in energy, then it just would cease to exist. And a lot of times we see that desire as something that's evil, because we have these desires that are destructive in a lot of ways and destroy what's there. But at the same time, our desires can be so creative. And if we start looking at our desires as something that's more creative and start going back to our leaps of faith, we really start looking at those desires as something creative and pure, and that inner child that just wants to play and experience this world, then I think our world would be a much more beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if we continue to restrict and see our desires as evil, then our desires become evil and we start to hurt. We start to hurt others, and we start to, it's that idea that fighting conflict with conflict leads to more conflict. That conflict that's inside of us creates more conflict and more conflict until eventually it's all sick and twisted and in a bad way.
Mm-hmm. It's also that idea of dang it. I hadn't brought up Brian in a few episodes. Totally blanked out on what I was gonna say.
Squirrel.
Squirrels planting nuts and accidentally raising trees.
Yep.
Oh, deprogramming, decolonizing, deprogramming, all of these things that we're trying to unlearn. Because it's all been programming that we need to be reliant on the government, other people, whoever's hoarding all the resources that are naturally abundantly available otherwise.
Fear-based economy and a fear-based society.
Yeah, it was never your idea to separate yourself, not just from the earth, but from others, right? They've programmed us to see the earth as just something to grape and just keep taking from, and to see others, as enemies, as not like us, as part of a different group. I think, yeah, that's all gonna help. Like, undoing all of that programming is gonna give you access to that unwavering faith, unshakable, being impervious, because when you know you're one with everything and all that is, what do you have to fear?
Yeah. And I think it goes even deeper, not just deprogramming from the government or from, culture type stuff, but from others in general. I think we have this beautiful ability to co-create with each other, to co-create our perspectives and the things that we see around us. But as soon as we're relying on other people to tell us what's right or wrong, we're losing that ability to trust in the natural instincts that are inside of us, the natural gifts and abilities.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about children and how they are born to absorb everything in their environment, everything that's around them, and they're born to learn and to be one with their environment. And so if they're out here in nature growing up in nature, they'll learn about nature and how it works and how it operates, and be one with nature. But if they're also born inside of our culture and our society and all these different rules and regulations, and especially when there's our rules and regulations are so hypocritical, then they start getting confused and being hurt because the things that they are absorbing are contradicting each other, and they don't know what's real. And they,
Yeah.
at least they think that they're trying to figure out what's real. We think we know it's real,
Mm-hmm.
but we're still so stuck in all of these concepts that have come from others,
Mm-hmm.
that of just existing,
Mm-hmm.
just existing with our desires and our love for the life that is around us.
Mm-hmm. I am so picky about, like, I didn't want any teachers after a while because of this same thing. Is like I want to know what I know. I'm done relying on what all these people say because they're all their stuff contradicts each other. Um, I don't think that, you can feel in certain people where their own beliefs shape how how they deliver their message and all this stuff. And I didn't even want to read books or anything like that because I want to know what what knowledge do I have access to, which I'm going to pull from the universe, from things around me. I'm going to pull from the relationships that I have with inanimate objects and nature and whatever I have access to around me, and then learning to have more and more broader access to things in that process. So when I found Elian, I only listened to her because she was already saying the things that I would say, all the things that I knew, because it resonated so much. Uh, and she sounded so much like me. Even some of the voices that she makes, the funny voices, I was like, I never heard anybody but me make that. I was like, what is she in my head? Um, and that's the only reason, even though I don't agree with everything that she says, and it's not like a perfect thing. That's also part of the beauty of why I do listen so much, is because it's like I created my own little teacher uh, for me that was gonna help me shape the thoughts that I was already having, and make more sense of them. It helped me access myself, because I had never really heard anybody with that same stand that I have for people in the world, and how she holds space and all this stuff. Um, so it's like I'm listening to myself, but a much more better put together, right? Um, Otherwise, I wouldn't be listening. But it's also what connected me to you guys, right? The Twitchiverse people. So I know it's not a mistake that that was the first teacher in years that I wanted to listen to, right? Because it was just so compelling. She talked about Jesus, and I was in love.
Awesome.
Yeah,
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 got to take that leap of faith.
yeah,
Leap of faith of trusting into yourself,
yeah,
trusting in your own voice, your own desires, your own.
yeah. I'll
Because I
join
think
the Twitchiverse.
I think that inside of each of us, we're all inherently good. We all have good desires, loving, pure desires inside of us. And I think it's choosing to follow those desires and follow the voice that says that other people are good and okay too, taking the fear out of the intention of others and ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once we take away that fear of others and the fear of following our own desire, then we really find trust and faith in life and things that are all around us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't think of anything else. What about you?
Now go be the shift. Kapah!
That's right. You are the shift.
Go shift this planet.
You're already the shift. Just go keep, yeah, shifting the planet. Shift all over the planet. Leave your trail of shift.
There you go.
And yeah,
All right. Thanks, shifties.
love you, shifties. Thanks for coming to our party.